Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I can do it on my cell phone. I think that would need the access through the laptop, I guess. Oh, thank you very much. So I'll start. Okay. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I'm very, very happy to be able to serve all the devotees at our Iskcon Richmond congregation. It's been almost a year since I have interacted with all of you. So thank you very much for letting me have this opportunity to serve all of you and to speak on the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So we are in this very auspicious month, the month of Damodar. It is also called as the month of Kartik. And for us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, according to our tradition, we also accept the teachings of Sri Rupa Goswami. And Sri Rupa Goswami explains to us how this month of Kartik is also famous for its Urja Vrat. So Urja is referring to the potency of the Lord, who is exemplified and personified in the divine form of Srimati Radharani. So as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we have this special affinity towards service, and service has been explained to be the prerogative, it is the realm of Srimati Radharani. She knows best what could please Krishna and how Krishna could be served lovingly. So in the month of Damodar, many of the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they try to increase their focus on serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna with the blessings of Srimati Radharani. One of the manifestations of Srimati Radharani's blessings is that one is able to remember the Lord, because remembrance is, smaran is a feminine quality, and by the blessings of the Supreme Mother Hara, the Supreme Goddess of Fortune, Srimati Radharani, one can use one's ability, one's capacity of remembrance, of smaran, to remember the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So today, according to the Vaishnav calendar here in the Western world, is also the celebration of Gopashtami. There are various other celebrations, but we'll just focus on Gopashtami. It is the 8th day of the full moon phase, which is called as the Shukla Paksh, the full moon phase of the lunar month of Kartik or Damodar. It is the 8th day after the new moon day, after Amavasya. And on this day, typically in Vrindavan, the cowherd community makes it a special point. The cowherd community in today's times, they give the responsibility of taking out the adult cows and bulls and adult cattle to the young cowherd boys. That is why this festival is celebrated as Gopashtami. Gopa means cowherd boys, and Ashtami is the 8th day. So the 8th day of the full moon, in the month of Damodar, the cowherd community comes together to encourage their next generation, to encourage the children who have reached a suitable age to now take the cows and the bulls, the adult cows and bulls, into the pasturing grounds. So typically an adult cow or bull would be about 2 years of age, according to the time frame of cattle, of how long bulls and cows live. Typically that would be the age. So about a year and a half is spent by the young offsprings of cows as calves, and then it is adult life for them. So Krishna and Balaram, they spent about a year and a half taking care of calves, taking out the calves to the pasturing grounds. And then they, and Krishna especially, was very much wanting to serve the adult cows. So we'll be discussing about that. But before that, let us try and understand the significance of the word go. In whenever we say gopa or gopi, or we say gauseva, or we say goloka or gokula or gopala or govinda, the word go. Srila Prabhupada, in the Nectar of Instruction, he gives the following meanings for the word go. He says, the word go in Sanskrit refers to the cows or the cattle community, the Gauvansh, as we say. It also refers to the senses, and the word go is also used to refer to Mother Earth. So a Gopati, which is another name for a cowherd man or a cowherd boy, could also refer to a landlord too. A landlord could also be called as a Gopati, because Go uh, is it is one of the words used to, it is one of the synonyms for earth. Although nowadays, or for quite some time, the word Gopati is not used in terms of landlord. Generally, you would say Bhupati. So, Bhu is another word used for Mother Earth. However, Gopati in some of the old writings would also refer to a landlord. Sometimes, when we address Nanda Baba as Gopati, we might just consider him to be a caretaker of the cows. Um, but a Gopati also refers to somebody who's a king or a leader of a community, because Go also means earth. So Nanda Baba had pasturing grounds, or he also was the king over a particular territory. Um, they also led a nomadic life. If you read Krishna book, if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, then we see Krishna kind of making references to them being a nomadic community. Krishna, when he addresses Nanda Baba during the Indra Puja, when they were making preparations from the Indra Puja, he says that we are not city dwellers, we are not town dwellers, we are not village dwellers, but we travel places. Wherever there is fresh grass for our cows to, for our cattle to graze on, for our animals to graze on, for the cows to graze on, we go and we seek a residence there. So there is a reference to the cowherd community in the 10th canto, which is Krishna's family, as being a nomadic community. At the same time, Nanda Baba is also a leader of the tribe of cowherdsmen. He is a king, and there are indirect references to him also being a a landowner. Indirect references to that too, as being a king over a territory. So, I'm so sorry. So Nanda Baba is a Gopati. However, today, when we celebrate Gopashtami, the typical meaning of the word Gopa, go and Gopa, would be cows or cattle. In Sanskrit, go is also a short word used to refer to the Gauvangsha. Gauvangsha means cattle. The translation in English would be cattle. So cows, bulls, buffaloes, goats, all of that would come in Gauvangsha. And Pa is the short form of Palak or Palan. So Gopa means someone who takes care of the cattle herds, a cow herdsman. So Krishna and the cows, they have a very special relationship. Just the other day, I was elaborating on this, that the form of the Lord as Gopal, which is his eternal form that he manifests in Vrindavan, in Gokula Vrindavan, or in Goloka Vrindavan, his eternal form in Goloka Vrindavan. This form of the Lord is his form as a cowherd's boy, as Gopal, which is also one of his names, as a Gopalak. So the Lord has various forms, and all of his forms are eternal. He has multifarious forms, and each of his forms are eternal. He manifests as Narsimha, as Purushottama, as Narayan, as Rishikesh, as Lord Ram, and as Dwarkadhish, as Mathuresh. Dwarkadhish is Lord Krishna in Dwarka, as Mathuresh is Lord Krishna in Mathura, as Shyam Sundar, the beautiful Lord of Vrindavan, and as Gopal, as the beautiful Lord who takes care of the cows in Vrindavan. And this form of Gopal is very dear to the devotees of Lord Krishna. As followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his form as Shyama Sundar is attractive. Shyama Sundar is his form where he is standing in the threefold bending form, the Tribhanga form, playing his flute. That is his Shyama Sundar form. And Gopal is his form where he is involved with the cows, with the cattle herds, and taking care of them. So Gopashtami is a festival where the Lord's form as Gopal is very glorious. It is very, very attractive. So in the Krishna book, or let us say the 10th canto, the Krishna book is a summary study of the 10th canto. We call it the Krishna book, whereas the book is actually, the title of the book is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this summary study, Srila Prabhupada, he describes in a very, very easy readable form the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So for the purpose of the Gopashtami festival, we will focus on Lord Krishna post 5 years of age, his pastime after he was 5 years of age. Before that, the Lord manifested his Bala Leela. His childhood pastimes or his childhood form, as he would crawl in the lands of Vrindavan as a young baby, as a toddler, and finally he's a little grown up. So these are his childhood pastimes. Why would the cowherds community in today's times, why would they, the cowherd community, specifically choose this day, the 8th day of the full moon in the month of Kartik? Because 5,000 years ago, roughly about 5,000 years ago, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead was traversing this earth, the Mother Earth was glorified by the footprints of the Lord's lotus feet. She felt overwhelmed having the Lord's lotus feet touch her. So at that time, on this particular day, Krishna was given charge of taking the cows, the adult cows, out into the pasturing grounds. So this happened sometime around when Krishna was roughly about 7 years of age. It could the exact age is not very clear, but it is definitely after 6 and somewhere around his 7th birthday. So he had finished his 6th birthday, which is in the month of Shravan Krishnashtami. that is his birthday, and this pastime is in Kartik. So it was after Krishna's 6th birthday. And the reason is because when Krishna had finished his 6th birthday, uh, that was when the residents of Vrindavan had heard about Aghasur. And at that point of time, Krishna was still taking care of the calves. Along with Balaram, he was still taking care of the calves. And we will refer to that pastime because it shows us the connection between the cows of Vrindavan and Krishna. And about 7, when he was 7, he lifted the Govardhan hill. So somewhere around that time, the Govardhan pastime also took place in the month of Kartik. So it could be just after that. It could be a year later too. So it was definitely about after his 6th birthday. This festival was inaugurated, the festival of Gopashtami. And then the tradition was adopted, and in present day times, the because of the modern day situation, we do not really find a very large cowherd community anymore. Typically, we don't find them in Vrindavan anymore. However, the residents of Vrindavan, they very gloriously celebrate this festival. And it is there in our Vaishnav calendar too. We join them. We join the residents of Vrindavan during this festivity. Although we do not in any ways follow the protocols of this festivity. The protocols of this festivity is that you send out the eligible boys, cowherd boys who are of right age, you send them out with the cows into the pasturing grounds. So we don't do that. We just remember the pastime and we celebrate it. We honor this day where Krishna was given charge of the cows. In Vrindavan, they celebrate it in a different way. They all go out into the pastures, which basically in the present times is just out into the fields, where there are still some pasturing grounds. There's still some trees, clump of trees that can be considered to be forests. And in these forests, they celebrate this festival. So the young boys of the cowherd community, or the young boys of Vrindavan, especially Nandagaon, because Nandagaon is Krishna's home. In 2020, the village of Nandagaon and the community that is situated on the hill, the Nandi hill, that community is accepted as the traditional home of Krishna. Or the village of Krishna. So especially the young boys of Nandagram, who are about 6, 7 years old, 6, 7 or 8 years of age, they are dressed as cowherdsmen. Basically it would mean that they are dressed in dhoti, kurta, especially turbans have to be there, colorful turbans with peacock feathers in the turbans, and they would have a belt around their waist, which is important for cowherds people. This belt could today's times, the present times, it is made of cloth, but typically it could be made of jute, rope. And then they carry ropes around their shoulders, and they have flutes tucked into their belts. Their faces are very nicely decorated with a lot of minerals, what we call as gopi dots. And a variety of food is cooked for them, delicacies, all of them vegetarian, a lot of milk sweets. And then there is some, the priests come, they offer some kind of puja. The brahmanas come, there is some puja, there is some rituals that take place. There is the offering of food, and then the cowherd boys are fed that food, and then they're sent off into the pasturing ground. So the boys typically walk about 10 to 50 to 100 meters, and the festival is over. And then everyone is singing and dancing, and they are having a picnic. So that is how Gopashtami is celebrated in the pasturing grounds of Nandagam in the present times. Now, the significance of Gopashtami for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That is what we want to know. That is also important for us. That as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, how do we celebrate? What is our understanding of Gopashtami festival? So in some of the temples, the Gaudiya Vaishnava temples, we may have a few of the young boys, and sometimes there are girls also, pre-puberty girls that are that look very cute, and they are given turbans, and they are given dresses, gopi dresses or gopa vesh, gopa dresses, and they come to the temple and in front of the deities. They have toy cows that they're given charge of. Very rarely they bring live cows or calves, but toy cows, and symbolically the festival is celebrated. For us, due to the pandemic, and also because we may not be able to do all the rituals, for us we just kind of do it virtually. So virtually means we hear of the pastime. We hear about what unfolded 5,000 years ago. So the Srimad Bhagavatam does not have a direct reference. So we have to look into other books, like the Anand Vrindavan Champu. And that is where we get our understanding from. The festival as such is not, there is no direct reference of that in the Srimad Bhagavatam. However, the Srimad Bhagavatam shows the affection that the cows of Vrindavan have for their Lord Sri Krishna, for their beloved Sri Krishna. And some of the acharyas also describe this as the manifestation of either Vatsalya or higher rasa. Vatsalya rasa or higher rasa. So the cows of Vrindavan, although they are animals, they share in the Vatsalya rasa. So Krishna and Balaram, along with the cowherd boys, are at the foothills of Govardhan Hill. And it is a normal day. So typically the boys with the calves would stay at the foothills of Govardhan Hill, and the adult cows and bulls and the adult cattle would climb up the hill. So Govardhan Hill is very tall. 5,000 years ago, Govardhan Hill was quite tall. And it wasn't easy for the young calves. As I said, calves are typically offsprings that could be a few days old, maybe a month or 2 months old. to about 1 to 1.5 years of age. So they are very young, and their feet are still uh, small in length. They do not have sufficient strength to negotiate inclines. Hence, the calves would not be taken up the slopes of Govardhan Hill. Only the cows, the adult cows, 2 years of age and above, would be taken up, and especially the older cows. So uh, the adult gopas, along with the adult cattle, the adult cows, had climbed up Govardhan Hill, and Girirajji was providing fresh grass to the cows, fragrant grass to the cows uh, to feed on, and also providing various kinds of fruits and nuts and roots or shelter places to the cowherd men. The boys were having fun. The cowherd boys were having fun at the foothills of Giriraj Govardhan. The cows, while pasturing on top of Govardhan Hill, they look down the hill. Cows do that, it's like they just don't eat. They also they have their eyes, so they also kind of look around. So they look down the hill. Uh, their eyes were searching for more fresh grass. And that is when they noticed their calves pasturing near Govardhan Hill. Now, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, Giriraj is also a part of, Govardhan Hill is also a part of the Vrindavan forest. So Srimad Bhagavatam would state that the cows were at the top of Giriraj, Govardhan, and they noticed their calves at the foothills near Vrindavan. So we should not kind of consider in terms of today's distances, because we'd wonder that how did the cows at the top of Govardhan see the calves in Vrindavan, which is like about 12 kilometers away, about 8 miles away. Yes, so Giriraj is also part of the Vrindavan forest. Vrindavan town is a speck of Vrindavan, is a tiny speck in Vrindavan forest, the forest of Vrindavan. When that happened, Shukdev Goswami says, दृष्ट्वाथ तत्स्नेहवशो स्मृतात्मा स गोव्रजोत्यात्मपदुर्गमार्गः द्वीपात् ककुद्ग्रीवौदास्यपुच्छो अगाधुं कृतैराश्रुपया जवेन. So, when the cows saw their own calves from the top of Govardhan Hill, they forgot themselves, they forgot about their caretakers because of increased affection. And although the path was very rough, they ran toward their calves with great anxiety, each running as if with one pair of legs, their milk bags full and flowing with milk, their heads and tails upraised, and their humps moving with their necks. They ran forcefully until they reached their calves to feed them. So, sa go vrajot atyatma pa durga marga. Atyatma pa durga marga. Atyatma pa durga. Atma pa durga. Durga means difficult. Marga means path. Atmapa, having given up the shelter of their caretakers. So Atmapa, pa means palak, like Gopa. So another word for Gopa is Atmapa. So it's not easy for domesticated animals to run away from their caretakers. They don't feel secure about it. Absolutely not. And if they have spent a lot of many years with their caretakers, they hardly leave their caretakers. especially when they are out in the wild. It is the nature of any being that when they are out in the wild, in the wilderness, they are more aware of finding shelter. So the cows leaving their caretakers, we may not really understand it as urban people what that means, because we are urban, right? We have no idea about taking care of cows. Our idea of taking care of cows is standing about 6 feet away from them and folding our hands and saying Jai Go Mata. Or maybe it is just visiting our stores and taking Go Ark and drinking that. At the most, what we may do is we may very tentatively extend our hands and try to pat the cow. Most of us. And it's all right. We are not supposed to be Gopalaks. We are supposed to be worshippers of Lord Gopal. So we worship him. However, we must understand that we may not really feel the emotions that are carried in the descriptions, in the simple descriptions of scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just the idea that Ati Atmapa, they give up the shelter of their caretakers, is scary, is kind of not really believable. It is unbelievable. Forget the fact that they're running down. I mean, many of us may be concerned, maybe, because we've watched a lot of Western movies, I guess. Cowboys running down slopes on their horses. We may be distracted by that scene, like the cows galloping down the slopes of Govardhan Hill. But giving up shelter for something else could be poignant, could be something scary, or it signifies the essence of Krishna consciousness. Why would the cows do that? And that is what troubled Balaramji when he saw that. When he saw the cows leave the shelter, and each one of them did that. I mean, somehow or the other, it was very synchronized. It was as if all the cows in sync looked down. There was this commotion, this chaos. Suddenly, Govardhan Hill was full of cows running down the slopes. Like thousands and millions of cows were running down the slopes of Govardhan Hill. That itself could shake Mother Earth. It could be like an earthquake. Anyways, so they left the shelter of their caretakers. So they found, which basically means they were attracted to another shelter, which is Krishna. Now, Krishna is just a young child. He's taking care of their calves. So they ran towards their calves. So they were running towards their calves, towards the Vatsa, towards their Vatsas. But we know that they are not Vatsas, they are Krishna. Because what had happened was, in this pastime, this was after the killing of Aghasura. Brahmaji had come for a visit, unscheduled visit. And Brahmaji never does that. Brahmaji is a man of protocol. That is why he's Brahmaji. He's very, very official in all his dealings, very particular. So he made an unscheduled visit to Vrindavan, which itself should have kind of raised flags for Brahmaji. That how is it that I'm making an unscheduled visit? It was off the records. His gatekeepers, doorkeepers, his security people did not know that he was doing that. So Brahmaji, He came on an scheduled visit to Braj, and he stole away all of Krishna's friends and calves. And Krishna had expanded himself into each and every calf and each and every cowherd boy. So when Balaram saw this, when he saw that how difficult it was to gallop down the slopes of Giriraj, and it was not as if the cows were stumbling, it was as if they were flying through the air. Somehow, they were still maintaining their center of gravity. They all ran down the hill to their calves. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or maybe Jiva Goswami, one of them, he says that by this time, you see calves, after calves grow as any living being. Every day, every month, every year they grow. So by the time the calves are 1 year of age, they willingly, or it is important to be done, and therefore the cowherd people, they wean them away from the cows. It is important to wean them away. It is something that is considered to be healthy, a healthy practice. There are pros and cons to it. There are I-sayers and naysayers to it, people who agree with it and people who don't. But weaning is a practice that is done in all communities, especially in the humans, and where humans take care of domestic animals or domesticated animals. And the reason is that since the offsprings have grown up, now they need much more than milk. However, milk is very, very attractive because that is what they have grown up with. They have grown up on. So they have this deep taste for milk, the milk of their Janani, their mothers, the one who has given them birth, their birth mothers. However, it may not be very healthy for the cow because to be able to provide for the growing needs of the offspring may take a toll on the health of the cow. So slowly, the calves they're not completely weaned away, but they're slowly weaned away. So the calves with whom Krishna and Balaram would come to the pasturing grounds would be the calves that were being weaned away from the cows. The calves that would still be drinking the milk from their birth mothers, from the mother cows, would not come to the pasturing grounds because they don't need to come and graze. They don't need that solid food right now. So they would stay in the goshalas. They would stay back in the villages, in the cow stalls, the barns. They would stay there. But as they grow, they need solid food too. So just like human children, at 6 months of age, it is recommended that they be given some solid food. And that is where they're slowly weaned away from milk. Doesn't mean that they cannot drink the milk of their mother. They can still do that. However, the mother may not be able to provide all the need for the growing child. It takes a toll on the mother's health. She does not have that kind of capacity anymore. So the child needs to sustain now on grains or fruits and other things and get energy from there. So the calves that were in the pasturing grounds were calves that had been weaned away from their mothers, but they were not as yet young cows. So now their mothers, they all came running down, and um, the Bhagavatam, what it states is that these cows had recently given birth to young calves. So after the weaning away period, the cows are now ready to be impregnated again. They can once again be ready to have calves. Uh, uh, that is how material nature works. So they had given birth to young calves. These young calves were in the villages. They needed the milk of the cows, and it is uh, the nature of young mothers that they keep their milk only for the newly born babies. It is very typical. Again, it's about sustainability. So these cows had given birth to new calves, but while coming down from Govardhan Hill, the cows, because of increased affection for the older calves, allowed the older calves to drink milk from their milk bags, and then they began licking the calves' bodies in anxiety as if wanting to swallow them. So sometimes when you kind of show your affection overtly, it seems as if like if you're um, hugging someone or embracing them, giving them an embrace, and it is over affectionate. It's as if you want them to completely merge with you. So that is called as that is described here as they were licking them as if they wanted to completely swallow them. They had so much affection for their older calves. So when Balaram saw this, and then he saw another phenomenon, which you can read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. We just focus on cows and calves. So when Balaram saw this, he felt intrigued, Lord Balaram. He felt intrigued because he knew that such affection that the cows had reposed in their older calves was only possible for the cows to have towards Krishna. It wasn't possible for the cows to exhibit so much of affection for anyone else. And then he began having doubts that are these really calves or is there something else happening here? So this pastime reveals how dear Krishna is to the cows of Vrindavan. Just this verse that we described it shows that in the human form, when Krishna has taken, he reveals his human form as Gopal, the cows can only do so much to Krishna because Lord Krishna is exhibiting his pastime as a human child. But when Krishna expanded as a calf, the cows, they could, as cows, they could wholeheartedly or they could wholeheartedly shower their affection on Krishna. So this pastime is very sweet, and there's a lot of potential for deep meditation when this pastime is when the Srimad Bhagavatam explains this pastime. So now we see that the cows really have intense attraction towards Krishna. And there are so many pastimes of how the cows have love for Krishna. Back home in Nandagram, which scriptures typically say just Vrindavan because they do not specifically give these names. So in the cowherd stalls, the goshalas, There are various pastimes described. So after this, a few days after this, it could be a few days, a few months after this, Krishna comes up to Nanda Baba in the early morning, and Nanda Maharaj has not as yet gone, uh, he's still at home. So Krishna tells Nanda Baba that um, no, he's with Mother Yashoda, and he tells Mother Yashoda that I'm a grown-up boy now, so you should not address me as a little child. Mother Yashoda, she opens up her eyes wide like, oh, baby, you're all grown up now. You're an adult. Krishna is like, yes, yes. And he has this, in Prakrit Bhasha, in typical Hindi, regional languages or Sanskrit, there's this, what is called as robe. You know what is robe? Attitude. Krishna is giving an attitude to Mother Yashoda. It's like, yes, his shoulders, he tries to kind of expand his shoulders, puff out his chest. His arms are on his hips. He's like, I am grown up. Like that. It's beautiful. And Mother Yashoda is like, yes, yes, you're all grown up. And like any other village lady, she's like, oh, you're grown up. Now you should get married. And Krishna is like, you, not that. Not so grown up. So Mother Yashoda is like, oh, grown up, so you are no longer going to eat butter and you're grown up now, right? And Krishna says, no, not that. Not like that. So what is it? You're grown up. So Mother Yashoda is like, and Krishna says, shh, let me explain. I'm grown up now and I want to take care of cows. Mother Yashoda is shocked. She did not expect that. So she's like shocked and silent. So Krishna says, so you agree? And Mother Yashoda is like, but all that comes out from her mouth is, you should go and talk to your dad. Go and talk to Baba. So Krishna goes to Nanda Baba. Now Mother Yashoda has already WhatsApped Nanda Baba. Say no to Krishna. So she has already texted him. She has already sent servants who carry this message to Nanda Baba. Mother Yashoda has said you have to say no to Krishna. But that is not what happened. So Krishna goes to Nanda Baba and he says, Baba, look at my arms. They are as big as yours. And then he goes, and I also will very soon have a mustache like you. And he says, my turban is as big as you too. And look at my lut, my stick. And the cowherd community carries sticks around with them. Anyone in the village, they have sticks a stick for various purposes. So it's called as a lut. And Krishna says, look at my lut. And Nanda Baba, just looking at his child and seeing the beauty of Krishna, he's so overwhelmed with affection. His eyes, they become moist. Moist is a very, very small word. Nanda Baba's eyes are filled with tears of affection. He is not able to see Krishna clearly, and therefore he becomes very agitated. He completely forgets who he is. He completely forgets where he is. He's all ears and all eyes for Krishna. Krishna has that kind of effect on people. So Nanda Baba forgets his Nanda Baba. He forgets he's a king. He forgets he's a male. He forgets that he even exists. He's totally Krishna conscious. And Baba asks Krishna, what can I do for you? Which is the only words spoken by a Krishna conscious person. So if one is completely Krishna conscious, then those are the only words one speaks. How can I serve you? What can I do for you? Krishna says, Baba, my lat is ready, my turban is ready, well, there's a shoe pastime too. But today we don't have time for that. We won't describe that. There's a shoe pastime connected to this Gopashtami festival. But that happened the previous day. Well, these pastimes are very interesting. So the time frame sometimes gets very much confusing. So Krishna says, Baba, I think the younger boys now should be given charge of the calves. And he named a few of the younger boys. He says, Arjun Sakha, who's younger to Krishna, and Subal, who's younger than Krishna. He says, yeah, they should take care of calves. And I, and Sridama, and Balaramji, we should now go out and we should be given charge of the cows. It basically meant Krishna could run up Govardhan Hill now, officially. So he says we should be given charge of the cows. And Nanda Baba is like, but because he's fallen once again in love with Krishna. Nanda Baba is always in love with Krishna, but every single day, every single moment, he falls more in love with Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Vardhanam. So since Nanda Baba has again fallen more in love with Krishna, his head is saying no, his heart is saying no, his mind is saying no, but the words that come out is by the arrangement of Krishna's Yogamaya potency is, we'll have to find a good muhurta, a good tithi, a very auspicious time to be for you to start this activity. So somewhere in the corner of his heart, he doesn't want Krishna to go out with the cows, because now if he goes out with the cows, he'll be spending more time in the pasturing grounds, away from home. So not only his mother Yashoda unhappy with the proposal of Krishna going out in the pasturing ground. She lost that battle a year and a half ago. But now Baba is also concerned, because once you take charge of the cows go further away into the pasturing grounds. And Baba is like, I don't want that. I want 24 hours darshan, which is not going to happen. So Krishna says, yes, we should find the good, a very auspicious time astrologically for us to take charge of the cows. So Krishna immediately runs to the astrologers and he tells the astrologer, Baba is going to call you, and you are such a wonderful person, you are so great, you are so knowledgeable, you are this, you are that. And Krishna is like, and the astrologer is like, my God, forget the fact that this boy is praising me. I'm falling in love with this boy. People in Vrindavan kind of have this experience. So the astrologer falls in love with Krishna once again. He's already in love with Krishna, but it is a once again phenomenon. He falls in love with Krishna. And Krishna tells him, you have to somehow or the other find this auspicious day today. And you have to find this auspicious time right now. And the astrologer says, his mind is saying, well, that is not possible. I cannot make things auspicious. I can just say that something is auspicious or not. But the words that come out from his mouth is tathastu, whatever you desire. So the astrologer goes to Nanda Baba's house. And he's making his calculations, and he's making his recalculations and recalculations. And Nanda Baba is like, Why did your system hang up? did, did you update to the latest OS or not? Operating system. Why are you going to and recalculations? And the astrologer is saying that all my calculations, I'm surprised that all my calculations are simply showing that right now, today is the most auspicious time, because if we lose this moment, then for another year, we won't find an auspicious time for this activity. And Krishna is like, yes, right now, please, please. And when the Supreme Lord desires, everything becomes auspicious, isn't it? And that is how the astrologer's calculations reveal that that was the only moment that is auspicious. So whenever or whatever the Supreme Lord desires, that is all auspicious. And therefore, if we are in sync with the desires of the Supreme Lord, then we are also fortunate to have access to all that is auspicious. Therefore, Prabhupada would say that Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity in this world. And because Krishna consciousness means being conscious of Krishna, being in sync with Krishna's desires. So does it mean that we are slaves of Krishna? Because somehow or the other, sometimes when we make statements like this, somewhere our material mind, which has been trained by the various sciences of this world, the material sciences, feels that this is enslaving. But what is Krishna's desire? The scriptures explain that Krishna's desire is to see us be happy serving him. And who doesn't want to be happy in this world? So Krishna wants us to be happy. That is his desire. And we are happy being conscious of Krishna. Krishna consciousness is simply a manifestation of the desire to be happy all around. Hence, Srila Prabhupada writes in his books, the only way to be happy is to be Krishna conscious. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So they had the auspicious time. Everyone was not wanting Krishna to go out into the pasturing grounds. However, Krishna's desire is sarvopari. Krishna's desire is all-encompassing. So finally it happened, and the adult cows were the most happy now, because Krishna would be spending a lot of time with them in the pasturing grounds. So the adult cow said, "Apna time aa gaya, not apna time aayega." Our time has come. Now we can spend time with Krishna. So on the 8th day, this pastime happened today, the 8th day of the full moon in the month of Kartik, or the month of Damodar. So this is a very auspicious day, a very auspicious tithi. Understanding that the cows of Vrindavan have such a deep relationship with Krishna, and we are all like cows, because one of the understandings of the word go is senses. So our senses also need shelter, and the best shelter for our senses is Lord Rishikesh, the master of the senses, the perfect abode of love for the senses to be satisfied. The senses are looking for love, and the perfect abode of love is Krishna. Prem Murti, Krishna is called as Prema Murti or Prema Murtiman, the perfect manifestation of love. However, we know that this aspect of Krishna is actually Srimati Radharani, and we are a little biased towards her. Sorry, Krishna. But you know that she is not different from you still. So we seek her blessings on this day, that our senses as go may seek shelter of Gopati or Rishikesh, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we can achieve this realization through the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you very much, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But we'll be open for any questions right now. So if you have time, please let me know. Maybe we should all just eat prasad now, as the festival has ended. So at our homes, we can just go and have prasad. Oh, yeah, it's a little early or a little late for late for breakfast and early for lunch. Let's do it virtually, prasad. Let's prasadam time, so virtual prasad. So, all right. I'm looking forward eagerly to be there with all the devotees. And Krishna willing, everyone would be safe, healthy. That is my prayer. And everyone is happy being in Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sorry? Thank you. Thank you. Yes. By Krishna's grace. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, beta.